everyone here is talking about the historic blizzard that just slammed New York City. Yep, all day long, people were wondering how bad will it get and when will it end. It's the same questions you'll ask tomorrow during President Trump's State of the Union. When will it end?
Yes. Well, the way you guys are taking us, it may not end very well. Yes, the Democrat Party. They want slavery back. Was that your drumstick or a bullwhip? Which was that? Michael doing hand gestures across the console here in the radio studio. And very good and happy State of the Union Tuesday to everyone. Welcome back. We are at 888-630-9625. The Democrats are going to rebut the State of the Union, which is normal. It's been normal for a long, long time, but not the way that the communist slave drivers are doing it. The Democrat Party, they've got Abigail Spanberger, known as Scamberger, and she's not a good. She lied to get into the governor's mansion in Virginia, and they're based in Richmond. That's where the Democrats had their capital during the American Civil War, 1861, 1865, and then they assassinated the first Republican president, Abraham Lincoln, because he took their slaves away from them, their playthings. Look at the Democrats today. You can only imagine the sexual abuses they engaged in then. Democrat Party with their plantations and all their plantation-y stuff like that. But the president will deliver the State of the Union. The coverage begins at 9 p.m. tonight. I heard last night from one person close to the White House that the actual State of the Union may not begin until about 9:30 p.m. And then it's expected to be a very long, an unusually long State of the Union. So starting, if it does start at 9:30, even if it starts at 9, especially long for President Trump. He loves to riff, and he's going to be making fun of whatever Democrats remain in the chamber that aren't boycotting, and he's going to do shtick about them. He's going to make fun of them, and it's going to go on. It'll be fun, not for Democrats. If you're a Democrat, maybe self-immolation on a bridge or something like that might be a good alternative, because you guys are nuts, and we got that. But Abigail Scamberger, why did the Democrats choose her? Well, she ran as a moderate in Virginia, and the moment she was elected, started doing radical left-wing things like she's Zohran Mamdani in New York City. She's horrible, awful, a terrible fraud. But that's not all, because they've got Scamberger, and they have, listen to this now, they've got another one. They've got Alex Padilla. Alex Padilla. You have to pronounce it like that because Democrats, Alex Padilla, the New York Times, very excited. Alex Padilla plans Spanish rebuttal to Trump's State of the Union. That's not even in English. This is an English-speaking country. But the Democrat Party, they're trying to make the United States unrecognizable. This is the fundamental transformation of America into a beep-hole country, the likes of which people flee by the millions. And then they figure the playing field will be leveled when we wreck the United States, America, and destroy Western civilization, because that's what the left is here to do, and the Democrat Party is the left. Crazy stuff. Senator handcuffed after interrupting Nome will give Spanish rebuttal to Trump. He was breaking the law, and he was deliberately disrupting law enforcement. And he wasn't shot, That was another Alex, wasn't it? That was Alex Funhouse. Alex the Bounce House. And, he was pretty, Alex Pretty. But Senator Alex Padilla got a lot in common with Alex Pretty already. A Democrat from California offered him, this is the guy that emerged, I think, when he was arrested. And everybody said, who? Remember this? And he's in the Senate, the U.S. Senate? Are you sure? Maybe not the Guatemala Senate or something like that. But Senator Alex Padilla, Democrat from California, offered a preview of his remarks, which he expects to focus on the economy, immigration, meaning illegal aliens, which he supports, and fair elections, which means stolen elections by the left. because everything every Democrat says is at a bare minimum a misrepresentation and more likely a flat-out lie. Senator Alex Padilla of California will deliver the Democratic Party's Spanish language rebuttal to President Trump's State of the Union address this week, the New York Times types on behalf of the radical left worldwide. Mr. Padilla, a former California Secretary of State, is likely that they don't say anybody told him, is likely to focus on three major issues. The economy, it's the economy, stupid, going back to that lunatic, James Carville. Immigration, which they have to mispronounce, and fair elections. How ironic, because, but you don't want ID for elections like they have in Somalia. You don't want ID for elections like they have in South Africa after Nelson Mandela campaigned to make sure that they had voter ID in South Africa, but the Democrat Party. So he will also almost certainly get personal. No kidding, you leftist Nazis, you Hitlers, this is how they get personal. Everybody's a fascist, The son of Mexican immigrants and the first Latino senator from California, racists in California, he drew national headlines last year when federal agents forced him to the floor and handcuffed him after he tried to question Kristi Noem. Remember when he burst through the door, didn't identify himself, and started shouting and screaming, and there were security officials there because there was a cabinet secretary that Democrats keep threatening to murder. And so this idiot who came bursting through the door, violently disrupting an event, he was, interfered with by federal law enforcement. And isn't that terrible? He drew national headlines when federal agents forced him to the floor. But they left out, the New York Times left out, after he burst through the door of a DHS secretary event and disrupted the event without identifying himself in any way. And that's when we learned that nobody knew who the hell he was.
Sir, hands up. I'm Senator Alex Padilla. I have questions for the secretary, because the fact of the matter is a half a dozen violent criminals that you're rotating on your
And he was, but hey, I've got questions for this is not what you do. You don't burst through the door where there's a cabinet secretary addressing a crowd of people and start screaming at the top of your lungs like a gun-toting, mentally ill Lee Harvey Oswald or James Earl Ray. I think James Earl Ray was more of a, Lee Harvey was a communist. James Earl Ray was a Democrat presidential campaign volunteer when he shot and killed Martin Luther King, the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Isn't that amazing? And the Democrats at the New York Times, we spoke to Padilla by phone about what he expects from President Trump's speech. This is always how they tee it up, isn't it? This is, and they don't know what he's going to say. They just know he's going to attack Trump, and that's good enough. So the New York Times tees it up. How he's preparing for his own address and which Americans he hopes to reach. He hopes to insult and attack is what we're talking about. I think the Democrats should be dressing in gray uniforms again, shouldn't they? Yes, they should. They should go back to their old gray. They love to complain about the Confederate flag. The Confederate flag was the Democrat flag for a number of years. But the American flag, we, on the side of the good guys, we like the American flag. We love the American flag. We know what the American flag represents all over the world. The left is burning our flag, tearing down our flag, putting up transgender flags, not even the LGBTQIAA plus with the rainbow, but now they need the transgender flag, and they like the Palestinian, the Hamas flag, the terrorist flag. They like the Mexican flag, but they burn the American flag. These people. What's the matter with these people? There's something that we talked about a bit yesterday, but we didn't actually get to, and that is the American. We did talk about it, but I didn't get to this audio of Jack Hughes. Jack Hughes, the professional and Olympic hockey player, American hockey player, and scored the winning goal. Got teeth bashed out by one of those dang Canadians. That's it. We should close the border. We should impose tariffs on them, I think. Here's But Jack Hughes, he's a regular guy, a happy guy, an American guy, and men's hockey team. And just after the win, with his front tooth knocked out, another one front tooth broken in half. No kidding. If I were Elon Musk, I was saying this the night of the day of the game. It was in the morning. About my best girl and I were watching it. I said, if I were Elon Musk, I would weigh in right now and say, I'm going to pay for your dental work. I'm going to pay for your dental work. But here's Jack Hughes just after winning against those Canadians.
This is all about our country right now. I love the USA. I love my teammates. It's unbelievable. The USA Hockey Brotherhood is so strong. And we have so much support from ex-players. I'm so proud to be American today.
So proud to be American today. Now, the Democrats are out there screaming and yelling and saying, I'm LGBTQI and I'm oppressed and America is mean to LGB and crazy Democrat mental illness stuff. Jack Hughes, on the other hand, just a great American, pro-American, and he's really, I think, the number one hero out of the Olympics this time around for any country, Jack Hughes, and the overtime win against those Canadians.
Unreal game by our team. That's just a ballsy, gutsy win. That's American hockey right there. That's a great Canadian team, but we're USA. We're so proud to be Americans. Tonight was all for the country.
So proud to be Americans. Tonight was all for the country. And again, just had, and his teeth, what was the thing if LeBron James had just gotten his teeth knocked out while playing a basketball game? You know, they'd need pallbearers for him. The media would be talking about it for a month. Oh, no, look what it's so tragic. But Jack Hughes.
Like I said, the USA Hockey Brotherhood means so much. Look at these guys. We're such a team. We've been together for 2 weeks. We're such a team. The USA Hockey Brotherhood is so strong, and we're so proud to win for our country.
And just you know that he's not a Democrat, and they're coming to Washington today. I think some last night and some more today. And I think the president said he'd lay on a military plane. The team was flown into Miami initially because the snow in the Northeast and stuff, they said. But coming up for the State of the Union, if they're invited. And the ladies' team, the women's team, was some of them are no ladies. They're Olympic hockey players. But they were invited, too. And apparently their team said, no, thank you. We'd rather not attend the State of the Union. We're attending an LGBTQ event instead. Don Lemon, speaking of LGBTQ events, he didn't like the American win.
I don't understand why anyone would want to be in the vicinity of this president at all. Just being honest. If they called him the phone call, I would say, no thanks. No thanks. Do you want to take the call? No. Tell him to call someone else. I'm not interested in being part of this.
We understand.
I'm not interested in being part of this when he is not a patriot and he doesn't care about this country.
You're not a hockey
He doesn't care
player.
about the people of this country.
He's not a
He certainly
patriot.
doesn't.
Just like
if you look at the citizens who are being rounded up, if you look at what he's doing to the economy, what he's done to healthcare, he doesn't care about this country. So why should I be smiling and kikiing? No. Not interested.
No, not interested.
I'll go party and celebrate somewhere else. I'll wait till I get home to go and party and celebrate with my family.
Yeah.
And maybe like a real president. Maybe one day Barack Obama will come to our games.
Barack Obama will come. The racist, what a racist that racist is. Isn't he amazing? Yeah, maybe Barack Obama. Yeah, that's probably it. Well, and he's like, Don Lemon, like he played hockey last night, isn't he? Isn't he something? President Trump called, they're all just severely mental. By the way, there's some anti-Trump event tonight during the State of the Union with Robert De Niro and Don Lemon. They're going to be in shorts in a hot tub, and you don't want to know the rest. President Trump called into the team when they're in the locker room, and FBI Director Kash Patel was back there celebrating with the American hockey team. The Democrats are very angry.
I just told my people 2 minutes ago, I didn't know they'd be calling. I said, we're giving the State of the Union speech on Tuesday night. I could send a military plane or something, but if you would like to, it's the coolest night, it's the biggest.
We're in.
Yeah.
We're in.
Can you pick us up in Miami on Tuesday morning? Yeah, Tuesday morning. Close the northern border.
Close the northern border.
We'll get the military to get you guys over.
I'm going to let's go. Boys are going to the State of the Union.
Boys are going to the State of the Union. These guys are great. One of them, a lot of hockey in Canada. One of them yelled, close the northern border. Close the northern border. They're having a great time. They're fun. They just won the Olympic gold medal. Playing hockey was great, great thing. Kash Patel, FBI director, was there. The left very angry about this. They're very angry about everything. They're not happy unless they're not happy. But that was great stuff. Jack Hughes now back in the United States. I've got a bit more to share with you on that. And we are at 888-630-9625. State of the Union tonight. So a gang of leftists are planning on having a gathering at the Washington National Press Club tonight as a counter-wank to the Trump State of the Union. And wait till you hear the list of dimwits that will be there. I have at least a partial list for you. Hollywood and idiot Democrats and Don Lemon, Robert De Niro, who else? A bunch of I'll share it with you. Pretty ridiculous stuff. They're honestly, I'd like to feel sorry for them, but I've had enough of that. I've moved on from feeling sorry for them. All right, let's go, Michael, to the telephones. Let's go to our friend Fayez, calling from Florida. Fayez, you're on the Chris Plante Show.
Hi, Chris. How are you doing?
Hey, Fayez, very well, thank you.
Good. I was telling Jasmine that I had a passenger in the back seat, and I had your show on, and you were talking about the Smiths, the severely mentally ill Democrats, and the passenger was a Democrat herself, so she didn't like it, and she was saying, well, I'm a Democrat, but I'm not mentally ill. I said, so I left the voice a little bit to hear more of the discussion. Then I asked her, who does open the border, import 15 million illegal immigrants, with 10% of them might be criminals, then we feed them, we house them, we give them money, and Joe Biden was not paying out of his mother's account, it was our money, and then they will pry on women like you. When we needed money for the hurricane, we didn't have because FEMA spent it on the illegal immigrants. Who does that? And I was looking at her in the mirror, and she smiled and said, only Smiths will do that.
Wow, no kidding. Well, that's not what I expected. That took me by surprise at the end.
Yes, it's logic. It makes sense.
And you explained it eloquently and beautifully and appropriately, and even a SMID had to admit that only a SMID would do that.
Yes, exactly.
Pretty good stuff. That's a great story, Fayez. Thank you for that. That's fun. Well, only a SMID. That's true. Only a severely mentally ill Democrat. Horrible. Thanks, Fayez. The Democrats. Trump derangement syndrome is one thing, but they're un-American, anti-American. Hey, the State of the Union is tonight. There are dozens of Democrats now that are going to boycott and not show up because, they are. But we've got another event going on in Washington, D.C. at the Washington National Press Club. And they've got a bunch of leftists who are showing up there at 7 p.m. That's today, February 24th, at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, the National Press Club in Washington, D.C. I work my evening job very close to the National Press Club there. And who will be there? Well, Democrat Senator Ron Wyden will be there. He'll be there. Mayor Jacob Fry of Minneapolis, Minnesota, also known as Mogadishu, Minnesota. And who else you can have? Mayor Brandon Johnson. Let's go, Brandon Johnson, the mayor of Chicago. Stacey Abrams. I think she's still the governor of Uzbekistan or something. Who else will be there, Michael? Well, Robert De Niro and Don Lemon. Never has seen Robert De Niro and Don Lemon mentioned in the same context before. You got Mark Ruffalo, one of the worst actors working in Hollywood today. Terrible. When I was 12, I was a better actor than him, and I never acted anywhere. Jim Acosta. Jim Abilio is his real name. He's ashamed of his ethnic heritage. We're going to have Eric Swalwell. I wonder if he's going to bring a date. It's a +1. Hey, Fang Fang is going to come with me. She's my Chinese Communist Intelligence Agency controller. Got that. Marianne Williamson. Tom Arnold. I thought Tom Arnold had died years ago. Does Tom Arnold still out there? Isn't that amazing? George Conway has got that going because, nobody in his house likes him. Democrat Representative Jason Crow. He picks the eyes out of animals along the side of the road with his beak. Isn't that amazing? And this is what lefties are doing opposite the State of the Union. Have you ever seen such a collection of anti-American misfits in your life? Buzz Peterson put on the Twitter. Isn't that amazing? And there they are. Join us. It says join us. They don't actually mean that because they won't let you in. They're not going to let you into the National Press Club with the schmucks there, with Senator Ron Wyden and Robert De Niro. They should bring Kilmore Abrego Garcia. They should bring members of MS-13 and of Tren de Aragua, I think, because that would make it a lot better. They're going to have Rashad Robinson. Rashad Robinson is going to be there, isn't that? And Asha. They're going to have Asha Rangappa because everybody wants to see Asha Rangappa there. And there are more surprise guests, they say. Isn't that amazing? Yes, sir. This is the Democrat Party. And they're opposing because they're very much opposed to everything. Yes, sir. Somebody has relabeled it here with a nice high-quality thing. It's Retard Fest 2026. There it is right there, and it's the same body but with an updated header. Updated header there. Aren't these people amazing? Yes, sir. That's what they're doing tonight. Now, Jack Hughes, he is he's the hero of the USA hockey team, gold-winning team, and he came back to the United States of America and learned that he's been invited to Washington, the White House, the State of the Union address at the Capitol by the President of the United States. And he didn't have a mental malfunction. He responded like a normal person.
Everything is so political. We're athletes. We're so proud to represent the U.S. And when you get the chance to go to the White House, meet the president, we're proud to be Americans, and that's so patriotic. So no matter what your views are, we're super excited to go to the White House tomorrow and just be a part of that.
Note that he said at the top of his soundbite, everything is so political. It's like, so the question was political from some left-wing reporter. Don't you hate Trump as much as we all hate Trump in the Washington media? How could you go to something that, and I did mention the women folk, which is what they call, they don't call it women's hockey, the women folk hockey because it's too gendered to say women. But the women's hockey team, the USA women's hockey, who won the gold in overtime against Canada, and and the president made it clear that he was inviting the women to the State of the Union too. Once he invited the men to the State of the Union on a speakerphone call with Kash Patel holding his phone so that Team USA could hear him, and it was a fun back and forth. But the U.S. women's hockey team said it is declining President Donald Trump's invitation to attend his State of the Union address a day after the president jokingly told the U.S. men's hockey team that he would be impeached if he didn't also invite the women's team. He was doing shtick. Everybody was laughing, having a good time. It was fun. And here's what the USA women's hockey team said in declining, and it's a perfectly nice decline, but nevertheless, you're invited to the State of the Union after winning the gold medal at the Olympics in Italy. It would be gracious, I think, to show, and it would be good, to show up. You're in the room for the State of the Union. You should do that because it's fun. And the women's hockey team, they said, we are sincerely grateful for the invitation extended to our gold medal winning U.S. women's hockey team and deeply appreciate the recognition of their extraordinary achievement. Due to the timing and previously scheduled academic and professional commitments following the game, the athletes are unable to participate. Now, it's very politely written, but I've got to say, really, every one of them has a previous academic commitment or professional commitment, and every one of them is unable to make it? That's kind of interesting. And they continued, they were honored to be included and are grateful for the acknowledgement. So it's all very nice and all that good stuff. White House did not immediately respond to NBC fake news in a request for comment, but the USA team beat Canada for the gold medal in Thursday's Olympic women's hockey final. Their male counterparts won gold on Sunday, also against Canada. That's kind of an afterthought there. See, it's a bit of an afterthought because everybody at NBC is a cross-dresser. That's interestingly. But it was a nice way to decline, but, But I think that everybody on the team, the whole team has I couldn't possibly, I've got prior commitments. Professional, and my stand-up comedy routine is due to be unveiled in the Catskills, and I couldn't possibly do that. But I would think that some would be able to attend, wouldn't you think? And somehow nobody on the men's team said, well, I can't, because of prior commitments, I just can't make it to the White House and the State of the Union at the invitation of the President of the United States after winning the gold medal in hockey for the first time since 1980 at the Olympics. But there you go. Yes, and ESPN, U.S. women's hockey declines Trump invitation to State of the Union. And look, if I heard that, a whole bunch of them can't make it because they've got prior commitments immediately after the Olympics, I'd say, well, I can see that happening. But when it's universal and everybody on the team can't make it because of prior commitments, I find that curious. We don't have a news media that's curious about anything ever because they're corrupt, filthies, And then there's Keith Olbermann. Remember Keith Olbermann? I thought he had died. Keith Olbermann ridicules U.S. men's hockey team for wanting to accept Trump's State of the Union invite. Olbermann calls the men too stupid, self-absorbed, and misogynistic. Yeah, that's because that's Keith Olbermann, who's cross-dressing. He's a cannibal, I think. Isn't he a cannibal? Isn't that amazing? Yeah, they're because the men are too stupid, too self-absorbed, and misogynistic. Why misogynistic? That's because the women's team didn't accept the same invitation? Is that what I'm to? Former ESPN broadcaster, he's an NBC broadcaster, isn't he? MSDNC and NBC fake news. Former ESPN broadcaster Keith Olbermann took issue with the U.S. men's ice hockey team wanting to accept President Donald Trump's invite to his State of the Union address on Tuesday night, while applauding the women's hockey team for declining the same gesture. This guy, honestly, these people need to move to another country. They need to go live with Rosie O'Donnell. You guys probably get along pretty well. You have same IQ level. Both teams are fresh off Olympic gold over Canada. The overtime heroics needed poorly written. The overtime heroics needed in each contest by Jack Hughes for the men's and Megan Keller for the women. As such, Trump extended an invite to both teams to his address, though the women's hockey team said it had previously scheduled academic and professional commitments. Sure, led to turning down the invite. And I find that curious. Let me just say curious. I don't want to say any more than that, but certainly it is unusual, unexpected, I think, if not inexplicable. Just extraordinary stuff. Now, there's one of the things that I want to get to this guy, the video that I sent you, and it's a Facebook video of an American who is, he's from Liam Out Loud. He's an damn Canadian. But, they just lost the hockey thing, so I feel bad for him. Because hockey is more important to them than it's their thing. It's their thing. It's like the French losing a wine drinking contest or something like that. But here's this Liam Out Loud fella. Liam Out Loud is talking about the woke movement. And he's bringing a little bit of history into it because he's right about this, the lefties and how they'll just never stop. And I've been talking about these people for a long time. When you give the left everything they want, you know what they want then? More. They want more. And it's never ending. And they will demand and they'll pound the table and they'll burn the synagogue down. And then when you give them what they want, they just have a long, long list of things that they're still going to demand. And these people, can I just say these people? But I want to play this for you. This Liam Out Loud. He posts videos of himself on Al Gore's Amazing Internet. Al Gore's Amazing Internet. And he talks about how the left constantly moves the goalpost and changes their alleged goals and all that stuff. And he talks about Hannah Arendt, a 20th century left-wing writer, pseudo-feminist, radical communist. Just call her what she is, communist Hannah Arendt. But if you studied political science in the 20th century, you'd know who Hannah Arendt is. If you didn't, you probably would not know who Hannah Arendt is. But here is Liam Out Loud, who's from Canada, but that's okay. And he posts videos himself talking about the left and what they're up to.
Here's why the woke movement keeps shifting its goalposts. What we're seeing with today's social justice movement is exactly what the philosopher of totalitarianism, Hannah Arendt, warned about. A constant revolution with no end in sight. These movements, from feminism to gay rights, anti-racism, decolonization, and trans issues, mirror Arendt's observation that revolutions never settle, never declare victory, and never stop because they're not actually about achieving equality under the law. It's about expanding their umbrella until all individuals become part of one mindless blob that operates with a single rigid ideology, making them easier to organize for political ends.
That's exactly right. And it's a never-ending fight. That's why Hillary Clinton's slogan is there is only the fight. You just keep being disputatious and argumentative and demanding a long list of things. And you don't care whether anybody likes you because nobody likes you. Nobody likes Hillary. Nobody likes any of these people. But this guy, his name is Liam DeBoer. Liam DeBoer, D-E-B-O-E-R, probably South African. Racist, but he knows what the left is up to.
As soon as one cause wins, they find the next group to rally behind to justify the movement's existence. This is why they dispensed with feminism for transgenderism, which is directly at odds with the other movement. Fringe groups are absorbed not to help them, but to keep the movement alive. There's no end because the goal is not actually justice. It's the complete centralization of power. Orwell nailed it when he said one does not establish a dictatorship to safeguard a revolution. One makes the revolution to establish the dictatorship.
Ah, you see, it's trickier than we had originally thought. Isn't that amazing?
So don't expect woke ideology, which is now embedded in every Western institution under the guise of diversity, equity, and inclusion, to burn out on its own. This movement thrives on Orwellian doublespeak, where diversity really means conformity, equity really means some animals are more equal than others, and inclusivity really means exclusion for those who oppose the revolution.
That's exactly and entirely correct. This guy, Liam DeBoer, is making a lot of good sense. Liam Out Loud on Al Gore's Amazing Internet, and an interesting video that he posted.
The woke mind virus will continue to ceaselessly steamroll society until everyone is absorbed or anyone who opposes it is socially exiled. This is why it is more necessary than ever for Western society to say enough with equality of outcomes and return to the values of equality under the law and meritocracy. If this ideology continues, Western civilization itself is at stake.
Yeah, that's a fact, Jack. And I keep talking about that, too. I've been talking about that for years. It's not just us. It is Western civilization. This is the left, and it's an evil death cult. They've murdered 100 million people. They've enslaved billions. Speaking of enslaving, they use the Chinese communists, use Uyghurs, the entire Uyghur population, as slave labor. If a party official needs a kidney, they'll cut it out of a Uyghur and give it to the party official. They're mental. And remember the New York Times headline, pedophilia, a disorder, not a crime. Yeah, I got a pill for that now. right, we have returned. Hey, Elizabeth Warren's going to the State of the Union. She says she wants to witness it because Trump might talk about the economy, and she has to prepare her next lie. She should tell us how the Native Americans run their economies. You know how they are. Let's go to the telephones, Michael. Let's go to Keith, calling from the Commonwealth of Virginia with their new governor, and she's going to be doing a counter-rebuttal, what do they call it? All that stuff. Keith, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Mr. Plant, can you hear me?
Yes, sir, I can.
A pleasure speaking with you, Mr. Plant. Been listening to you for a long time.
Excellent.
Thank you very much. Thank you. So, I meet this lady after her husband passed of 36 years, and yes, we ended up getting married, and my lovely wife, I don't know, because maybe she's a little bit borderline over 960, was able to go to DMV. I don't know, was able to go down to the county courthouse and put her new name on the land, Social Security card, insurance papers, insurance, all those things. Just amazing. Just amazing. Just made farm girl. And then I went to Social Security today, Mr. Plant, and needed to handle a little bit of business, and they asked me for a driver's license. How dare them?
They must be racist. It's probably because you're black. It's probably the only reason is because you're black. So, wait a minute. So, wife, and you went down.
No driver's license to vote. That's just the craziest thing in my world, man.
It is. It's about stealing elections, Keith.
All the people that are, supposedly here legally because they're illegal, and they sponge off the Social Security benefits and this and that.
Yeah.
Don't they have to have a driver's license to go into the Social Security office just like I did this morning?
Well, for Democrats, I love the 960 SAT reference there too. That was a fun one.